Welcome to Elevate Your Event, your favorite podcast for transforming fundraising events. Join us weekly for expert tips and creative ideas to make your next event a standout success.
On today's episode of Elevate Your Event, we're stepping into the world of experiential design, where thoughtful rentals, lighting, and creative builds can completely transform a space. Jeff is joined by Nezhdeh Parsanj, co-owner of Opus Event Rentals, who spent 20 years helping nonprofits turn ordinary venues into unforgettable guest experiences. From walk-on water pool covers to immersive sponsor entrances, Nezhdeh shares how intentional design can elevate your mission, engage your attendees, and make your event truly memorable. Let's dive in.
Well, welcome back to the Elevate Your Event podcast, where we talk about all the various ways that we can help you possibly make your next fundraising event better than the last one. And we've got a special guest today. I want to introduce Nezhdeh, and he is one of the co-founders of Opus Event Rentals, based in the Southern California area, and he's been in the space for 20 years, so he's got a lot of experience in terms of events and obviously seen a lot. And so love to have you introduce yourself really quick, Nezhdeh, and then let's dive into some great conversation we can have about event rentals.
Yeah, certainly. Good morning, Jeff. Glad you have me on. My name is Nezhdeh Parsanj, co-owner of Opus Event Rentals. And like you mentioned, I've been doing this for about 20 years. Love creating new and exciting spaces and getting creative to engage as many attendees as possible that attend these events.
So you and I were just chatting before we got the podcast going, specifically about your business and kind of what you do. Why don't you share with our listeners here, share with them specifically what you guys rent, what kind of services you provide in the event space?
Certainly. So we do offer the typical sort of furniture and tables and chairs that most other party rental companies offer, but we do offer other items and other services that are not as prominent in other companies, which are flooring, which really accentuates certain spaces, or we also cover pools, which we've used in certain events to sort of create that wow effect when you walk into a space and you're able to walk on the water. And you can also have decals and logos that are within that space as well to sort of express your mission and your goal or what you're trying to express to all of your attendees.
Very cool. And I think you probably started to expand into those areas because as you're going to these events and you're trying to help these organizations, whether it be a corporate event or it be a charity fundraiser, you're trying to help them kind of, enhance, the overall environment, the look, the experience. You're probably saying, wow, it would be really cool if I could cover that pool, help these guys out, and then those things start to become a little bit more commonplace.
Yeah, like we had talked about before with this, we started the podcast, is people want, we want to move away from the hotel ballroom as much as possible. So that when you have a donor that's willing to lend out their space, they have a nice, beautiful backyard, but they have a pool in the middle of it. You can use that pool as part of the event to either, have people to walk on there to create a photo opportunity, or to have something on there that, expresses whatever the mission for the nonprofit is, to show, that way it becomes memorable.
Yeah.
When people go home, they remember it, a month later when that letter comes in the mail asking for a donation, they're like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
And they're willing to, pitch in.
Yeah, it's just kind of a continuation, some stuff we've talked about over the last several podcasts, which are how can you switch up some of these events? To your point, let's get out of the hotel ballroom. For some folks, that's the best place to have your event, and if you feel that way, great. What we're talking about is if you've kind of sat down and said, God, I really got to change something about, I don't know what it is. Is it the venue or what? Some of the things that we've talked about on past episodes are like, well, find some sort of, I would say, really cool, but maybe not a conventional event space. And then is that the kind of conversation you get in with folks, or that you walk in and they're like, I want to do my event here. How would you make it look good? Or how would we lay this out? Is that the conversation you're having?
It typically is, yeah. And when you walk into a space, because you're dealing with people that obviously are not in the events industry, when you walk into a space, yourself, myself with years of experience can sort of close my eyes and imagine what we could turn this space in. And for us, it's being able to express that to the client and being able to, hey, this is what we can do. Here are two ways we can transform this space to better engage the people that are going to come into it. And being able to express that to them so they sort of have an understanding of what your vision is, and sort of try to align it with their vision and also their mission of their whole entire nonprofit. Because you have to create a balance between those.
Yeah, I think a balance between vision and obviously and that can include the theme, right? And kind of what type of look they're looking for. And then I would imagine budget.
Well, certainly, budget is definitely a part of it, as always in any event. But like I always say, you try to take your budget, whatever it might be, and then utilize that budget as efficiently as possible where you accentuate certain things. You don't need to spread out your whole budget and try to change everything. Use it to do certain things. So you want to create a experience for the guests, then let's create a couple little areas where they can interact with something, where they're playing miniature golf or they're doing a little dance or whatever in front of a camera, whatever it is, so that they can have something that they can take home with or an experience that they can take home with. I think that's more important than trying to, have the nicest chair and have the nicest plate and the nicest sofas. So you can just use your budget wisely in certain areas.
Right.
Is most important.
So let me ask you about that then. What is the coolest feature you've added to an event? Or if you have more than one, give us a couple. But
I think the pool covers is pretty cool. I think a couple months ago we did some letters across a pool, which was for a nonprofit for breast cancer awareness, and we did their letters for their nonprofit across the water and created a bridge in front of it, and it was all made of glass, and guests could walk in front of it, take a photo, and then go off. And then the key is having that photo within a software system that attaches it with their email and their contact, and then you send it off, and that way you sort of maintain a sort of contact with them beyond that event day.
Yeah, so describe these pool. You're calling these pool covers, but it sounds like, do they fully cover the pool, or are there like a way where you could cover part just so people can kind of walk into the middle of the pool or something?
Yeah, any portion, honestly, any portion. It could be part of it. It could be all of it. Yeah, from fountains that we've done for talks. They had a TED Talk that was in LA at San Vicente Bungalows. They had a fountain there, so we covered that with glass, and they had speakers for the TED Talk sit there.
Huh.
So it could be it's just a platform essentially. It just happens to be on top of a pool. It's just a platform on anything. We've flattened out rooftops. We've had I know years ago, it was probably like 8-9 years ago, but we did a nonprofit organization that was on the top of a roof because they got access to that roof and they were going to party until like 2 a.m. They wanted to have, it was like a pretty big party, and the roof was uneven, so we flattened it out. So
that is so cool. Like, has there been anybody that's come to you with a vision and you've been like, yeah, we can't do that?
No. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think as long as the budget allows, I think pretty much anything is possible within reason, within engineering limits, obviously. But it's pretty possible.
That is so cool, because I can tell you I've met so many guys that are involved in the event world who just have amazing visions of what they want. And they've always been limited by a number of groups that are like, yeah, we can't pull that off. But it sounds like you guys have pulled off quite a few like really interesting, very cool, environments or solutions for people. So it's almost like, I mean, in a sense, like it's like Wonderland, right? I mean, I get to come in here and say, this is what I want, and you guys can go create it.
Yeah, that's the best part about this business is being able to be creative. You get the creative aspect of it, which really makes it fun. And you want to be able to express that creativity through your work so that whoever does attend that event can sort of sense your art essentially.
Yeah.
And
let's talk about lighting for a second, because I've seen in a lot of cases, especially when you get into the winter months and it gets way darker, that lighting can become an issue. So you spend all this money on this amazing tent and you put it up and it's got some really cool elements inside and not enough lights. So are you involved in the lighting design as well for all these things you guys are doing?
we do have lighting design as well. It's very key because it creates the ambiance of the space. So if you're too lit up or too dark, they're both bad.
Right.
Because you want to have just the right amount of lighting. And then it's also about the color of lighting. Do you want it to be a little more, amber color? Do you want it to be a little brighter? If you're doing an auction of some sort, you do want it slightly a little bit lighter. But if it's more intimate, sort of a dinner or you have guests talking, it doesn't need to be that bright. You just need to have the stage lit up.
Right.
Right. And then there's also color involved as well, because the color sets the mood. Color can also express whatever your theme is, or your like, especially for nonprofits, your mission and what they stand for. So if you have if your colors are all blues and greens, and you all of a sudden the gala is all red, it doesn't match together.
Yeah.
So you have to have some sort of balance between what the nonprofit is and what they're expressing with the lighting, with the materials. Those are all really important.
Yeah. And let's talk about the other kind of, I don't know what you want to call them. You would know, like the elements you might put around. There might be pieces of art or other types of things that kind of enhance the environment you're creating. Are you recommending and bringing those in also?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. A lot of even the smallest little detail, from the giveaways to the pillows that are on the sofas, to the mugs, whatever little things that there are, because those are all opportunities for you to show your nonprofit or show your mission.
Right.
So you can have your logos on things. You can have, your logos on walls so people can take pictures, because those are all things that people can take home with them. And that's how you stay sort of relevant and engaged.
So you're handling, like, if you're putting out a bunch of sofas, you'll work with the charity to design whatever throw pillows go on there with their logo that even maybe some of the sponsors can take if they wanted to.
Oh yeah, certainly. Yeah, we encourage it because once we print something on a pillow, it's not like we're going to be able to rent back to somebody else. So yeah, we totally encourage it, and we tell our clients that, hey, if you want to give this away at the end of the night, you can give these away to whoever whoever you feel like it. It could be like one of the ticket purchase ones where you just give it away at the end. Yep. To some lucky winner or whatever of a raffle.
Very cool. Okay, I got another question for you, because this came up recently. I went to an event and they did, like, the tent was beautiful, well lit, but it was outside on the ground, no flooring. So are you a flooring guy, or are you a put your tent on the grass kind of guy, or depends, or what?
It all depends. If you're going for the rustic look and, you're not expecting anyone to wear heels or really nice shoes, I guess, yeah, grass is okay. We do a lot of events that are in grass as well. But if you're, for most events, we do recommend that you do some sort of hardwood flooring, because it is safer, number one.
Yep.
And it's a much cleaner for everyone involved.
I was thinking about that. I mean, it just, I don't know, it detracted from the environment a little bit for me, and it actually attracted a lot of bugs. So,
that's true. Yeah, it depends on where you are, but the bugs do come. But then again, it goes all the way back to budget. So perhaps, their budget didn't align for them to have a platform. So they went out and got the tent, at least made you feel comfortable within a space. It wasn't cold or hot or anything like that.
So let me ask you then, okay, so moving on to all of the other things that I notice when I'm looking at ambiance, or just the overall event look and feel. Audio visual, are you working with AV companies?
We don't do it specifically, but we do have companies that we work with that do audio visual. We do a lot of LED walls currently. That is a very, very popular add-on for events, and especially for nonprofits, because it allows you to show videos and then and it looks much nicer than just a standard old TV
Right.
or a pull down screen or a projector.
Yeah.
With the LED walls, you get a lot more clarity, you get a lot more sort of flexibility in the videos that you're going to show. And then you also can interact with it a lot better, because nowadays the LED walls are pretty awesome, where you can sort of touch it and it sort of interacts with what you're doing. So if you have someone like a speaker up there, they can interact with the wall.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking through my own event, like, because we have a big LED screen we use because we do a Kentucky Derby event so people can watch it. But we've talked about, when you enter the place that you have never seen it, but like when you enter, you're coming down this pathway and we just have like, sponsor yard signs in the ground. And I'm thinking, I would love to have an LED wall of all of my sponsors, that you would walk past, and then kind of make that entrance a little bit more powerful, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to have to call you and be like, all right, man, Nezhdeh, how do we do this? Right. I mean, not just the LED wall part, but like, I'm sure you're involved in creating, like, this is what the entrance should look like, So what about the like flowers and stuff? Are you involved in that? Or you work with local florists or?
We use mostly local florists. We have a lot of great people that we work with that do the florals and stuff like that. Because that's its own sort of creative aspect that requires its own sort of experience to know which flowers are in season, which flowers are best used with other combinations of flowers, especially the colors that are possible. There's sort of a huge variety. And then also placement of flowers. Do you want it high? Do you want it lower? You know what I mean?
Right.
It just really depends. So you definitely need to have someone that's experienced. And we do have a lot of great florists that we work with. I know you mentioned you were talking about LED walls and sponsorships. We did one a couple weeks ago where we do for all kinds of canned food. They all get together, all processes of canned foods. And each one, we have these LED furniture and we have these LED cubes, and we line them up on top of each other to create a wall as you walk into the hotel ballroom. And each company has a logo on one of the LED cubes.
LED cube, and are you stacking them or?
Yeah, we're stacking them. Yeah. So instead of using them as seats or tables as typically used, we're stacking them. So it's sort of like not evenly stacked. So that maybe there's a stack of 3, there's a stack of 4, there's a stack of 2, you know what I mean? Like unevenly to enter the space. And then you walk by it, and each one of the cubes has the 55 different vendors that are part of this conference. And they all have their logo individually placed on.
I love it. Every sponsor is going to see their yard sign when they walk in, but if they were on the side of an LED cube, I think that would impress them.
Yeah, it's key. Like I said, it's all about this photo opportunity. Like nowadays, it's all about Instagram and photos. So like, half the guests that walked in stood there and took a photo.
Yeah.
And they're going to save that. They're going to tag that. They're going to tag the event, which all just sort of perpetuates and allows your company or your vision and your mission, your nonprofit, or for this case, profit organization, to grow.
Yeah.
And to have a larger reach.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. It gets me excited, especially when I think about some of the stuff you're doing and then trying to figure out how I could convince our board to let us do that for our event. I do a lot of apologizing, Nezhdeh. I'll just warn you. I don't do a lot of asking.
No problem.
But so tell me, I mean, in terms of what you've seen, what advice do you have, for listeners of the podcast as they're thinking through, gosh, all of this sounds amazing. I don't have the budget for this, or I wouldn't even know how to get started with this. I don't want to go back to the hotel, but God, where do I start?
The hotel's fine. I mean, you can, if the budget is the hotel, then the hotel is okay. Like I said, you just take your budget and understand that, hey, I need to make the most out of this, and let me pick the 1 or 2 things that's going to engage my attendees the most and focus my funds on that. Rather than trying to, appease every sort of aspect of the event where you're, worrying about, the florals have to be perfect and the chairs have to be perfect or anything like that. You can get the basic chairs, you can get basic florals, but have that one thing that, is memorable enough for your attendees to remember that this is this happened at this event, and I have something that I took home with me,
Right.
that I'll remember when next time they come knocking on my door for something.
Got it.
So that's the most important part, is just, whatever budget you have, just use it wisely and really tailor it to having sort of an effect on your attendee. Yeah. Rather than trying to like make sure the food is perfect. Like maybe you don't have to get the filet mignon, you could just get the chicken breast for everybody, but have something else there, like a photo op, so that they can take that home with them. Because that chicken breast is gonna, they're gonna digest that pretty quickly, but that photo is gonna stay with them, and it's gonna be something that you can sort of like reach out to them again with it, and they can pull up and they can be like, oh yeah, I remember this. This was cool.
Right. No, that's good advice. I mean, it's interesting because you have to think through your head. Like, what do I think would really engage my users?
Yeah, you really have to try to be your attendee rather than trying to be, the person that's putting it on. You have to envision yourself being one of the attendees, walking into that space. Hey, how do I want to feel when I walk into this thing?
Right. I get it. Hey, let me ask you this. So, do you guys have like a portfolio online or something that people can look at just to get ideas of like, oh my God, I want that at my event? Because sometimes I think people, they don't necessarily know what they want, but then when they see it, I do this a lot when I go to events. I'm like, oh, I love that idea. I'm taking a photo of that. I want that.
Oh yeah, certainly. Photos are the backbone of our industry. Everything in my head is all in here, but I can't express it without having some photos. So yeah. Certainly. You can go on our website, opusrentals.com, and there's tons of photos there. On our Instagram as well. There's tons of photos. And then we always tell our clients that if you saw something someplace else that you saw, maybe you saw it in Dubai, or maybe you saw it in, wherever, in London or whatever place it was in this world, that you saw something that was really cool, bring it to us. Maybe we can help you duplicate it wherever you are. You know what I mean?
I think it's awesome. I agree. And so, and I've done that before with some of even the folks here locally in Denver, where I'm like, can you make this? And I'll show them a photo. They're like, yeah, we don't rent that. We need an Opus Event Rentals in Denver for sure. I can tell you. And that would open up a whole, I know it would open up a whole new world for you of like, how do I like create like these amazing spaces in the cold?
Oh yeah, I know. We have no experience in the snow. I wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah. Well, hey, look. I mean, you got to try sometime. And it's funny though, because we do have a very good friend who runs an event venue around here, and I'm always curious to see what he does, because his event is always in the middle of December, and he's just come up with some really creative things. It's kind of fun. But anyway. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. I always enjoy, chatting with folks in the industry that are helping organizations take their event and just make it amazing. It sounds like this is exactly what you guys do.
I'm trying to. Yeah.
So for anybody, I mean, obviously you guys are mostly Southern California. It sounds like Vegas, Santa Barbara, LA, San Diego area. And if any of our listeners are in that area, how can they get in touch with you if they want you to turn their event into an amazing experience?
Certainly, yeah. They can reach out to us on our website at opusrentals.com, or reach out to us on Instagram. And like I said, we have tons of photos there. They can browse through the photos in our catalog, and reach out to me if they like. Oh
my God. All right. I'm waiting for you guys to open up a location in Denver. Let me know as soon as that happens.
I'll definitely look out for you. Good.
In the meantime, thank you so much for what you do for the community, and best of luck with your business.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.
All right, well, we'll wrap up this episode of Elevate Your Event Podcast. Until next time, happy fundraising.
If you enjoyed our show, please take a moment to leave us a review. You can find us on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Don't forget to subscribe for more great content. And if you're a fan of video, check us out on YouTube. Until next time, happy fundraising.